guest exclusive podcast right here on the tradcatnight.org website, folks. Today is December the 22nd, 2021. I hope you all are having a very wonderful, blessed day, as always. So we continue to keep the programming moving along here at Track Cat Night, your number one Catholic podcast and information service. We've got Gil Broussard coming on here in a little bit, folks. We've got quite a few earth change topics, headlines to get through with Gil. We just finished up with the Carmelites of the Holy Face out there in Ireland, and now we are keeping the program moving along with Stefan Verstappen. Stefan's been doing our show for years now. He's joined us for web conferences, and today we're going to be talking about a little bit, maybe rendezvous points, retreat locations, but we do want to handle some of your more commonly asked questions that come through my email in regards to will we really need a lot of gold and silver in the days ahead? What are some of the top bartering items? And then maybe last second blackout prep, as some of you have, or most of you who are listening to this program probably saw the video that I put out. I saw it on Before It's News. I did a media appearance yesterday in Europe, and the gentleman who hosted it was a Protestant, and he had watched this video, a Catholic video, indicating more or less a time frame of what's going to be happening in the next 6 months. It's very dire, leading off with a blackout starting in January, according to him, or somewhere thereabouts. He did say it was, January, maybe February. But in any case, we'll ask all these questions to Stefan and so much more. But before we do any of that, just a gentle reminder, follow Track Cat Night across all your major social media outlets. Don't forget to send me your special guest suggestions, your articles, your information, your questions to my email. The backup Trad Cat Night channel is patreon.com/Trad Cat Night. Don't forget about the Trad Cat Night exclusive 2.5 hours long on Vimeo, 3 days of darkness. Punch that into the search box and you'll land on it. I can't stress this enough, folks. This is an independent media outlet. I can only continue to do this work on a full-time basis through your charity, so please help out if you can. There's GoFundMe, there's PayPal, cash check, money order. Considerations you can email me at apostleofmary@hotmail.com. And then just very briefly, our sponsors, Kathleen Loney has the 3 days of darkness of 100% beeswax candles back in the warehouse, as well as the purple scapulars. Contact her at kathleenloney@gmail.com. You've got John Dean's jacksbury.com. Cynthia Cooney's and her Cooney's Market. Chris Gagne, inviting all Catholics, knows like-minded, please remember the dead. Jeff Compost and a giftolight.com, a unique candle company which you could have your messages or photos wrapped around the entire candle. And last but not least, 247rosary.com. It's an online Catholic radio station playing a traditional rosary every half hour, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So let's freestyle it. Let's kick it here with Stefan. Let's handle these three main questions that have been coming through quite consistently in recent times, Stefan, right off the bat in regards to the gold or silver question. And I think we pretty much agree that everything will become more localized. So the first level is gold or silver. Will we need any gold whatsoever? In your humble estimation, how much gold will we need if we do need gold? And of course, I've got a lot of the economic gurus that come on my show, and they really will push the gold or silver because that's what they're paid to do in part. But what's your kind of take for the days ahead on precious metals?
Well, Eric, I am of two minds with the gold and silver. Yeah, I think, it retains its value against the, depreciating dollar, or it should, but it hasn't. When I bought gold in California before I came back to Canada, we were buying gold, and it was at $2,000 an ounce. And that was 10 years ago. So it has not gone up. It has actually dropped. What is it now? 1,600, 1,700 an ounce, right? Mm. So the value of gold has dropped in the last 10 years. But it should have gone up. It should have, tripled compared to the inflation and the depreciation of the dollar. Silver should be $250 an ounce. I was buying it 10 years ago at $50 an ounce, and now it's what, $24, $25 an ounce. So it's lost half its value in the last 10 years, whereas it should have been, up to 250 by now. But we know the reason for that. We know that the banks have been playing the gold and playing the silver markets and artificially keeping it low because they don't want people to realize how little their money is worth anymore. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it should go up, and it should be a hedge against inflation and a depreciating dollar. So I would say whatever, tangible, whatever fungible money you have, I would put, 30% in gold and silver. Here's the problem I have with gold and silver. So let's say we have a complete collapse of society now, and there are no more gold dealers, right? All those shops have closed down, right? They've probably been looted and their owners murdered. So now where are you going to trade this gold and silver? There's a problem with this. If it's on the black market, you're taking your life in your hand. Excuse me. If you're walking around with gold and silver in your pocket, let's say you got to go down to the black market, it's downtown, and you're bringing your 10 grams of gold and your 30 ounces of silver in your pocket, and you go down there. Just like that gentleman who lived through the Bosnian crisis there in Herzegovina, he said that if you were seen going to the black market with gold or silver, there are gangs all over the place. And if you are seen with, exchanging gold or silver, they will follow you home and they will rob you and they will kill you. So, walking around with gold and silver during a complete collapse is taking your life in your hand. Yeah, you can hide it in your pocket and all that, but if you're going to whatever black market dealer is accepting gold and silver, then they know, it's like, a bunch of alcoholics waiting for you to walk into the liquor store. And so they can rob you on the way out. So you are taking your life in your hands. The other problem I find is it's not that liquid, right? So, if I got some silver coins, right? When I go to my bullion dealer in Toronto and I want to exchange some of my silver, well, they test it. They got the testing machines there to assay whether or not it's 99.9% pure silver. And then they give me spot value or melt value, not spot, they give you melt value for it. And but what happens if there are no recognized bullion dealers or silver and gold dealers that have the equipment to test to see the purity of whatever gold and silver you want to sell? How are they going to know whether this stuff is real or not? So this is the problem I have with it. That's why, everybody knows, I've been saying this for a long time now, your best barter items are bottles of liquor. Vodka is probably the best because everybody can drink vodka. Not everybody drinks whiskey. And cartons of cigarettes, because that everybody can immediately recognize the value of those items. You don't need to test it. You don't need to, you just need to take a swig to see that it's good. And I would go 30% in liquor and cigarettes. And then the other barter items are, of course, are ammunition. This is what the guy from Herzegovina said, that when they were bartering, the most popular items were booze, cigarettes, ammunition, and believe it or not, Bic lighters. So get a case of Bic lighters, right? So I would have an easier time if I had to go to the black market and I needed to buy some eggs and milk and maybe, a pound of bacon or something like that. Now, when I go to the farmer and I give him, 2 ounces of silver, how is he going to know that the 2 ounces of silver are real silver? Right? Where am I going to exchange that for fundable items of barter? Again, that's just why I think, in a society that's still intact, let's say we just go through the dollar collapse, but everything is up and running, the stores, the electricity, everything's still going. Well, then, probably your gold and silver would be worth a lot more money then. And if you can go there and exchange it for whatever passes for cash at the time, because who knows? So you go and turn in your gold and silver. What are they going to give? Are they going to give you American dollars that are worth nothing? It's really going to be tricky. How are you going to pass this around? How is this going to be fungible? How is this going to be that everybody can accept this for the value that it has? That's why, okay, if everything's okay and it's only hyperinflation, gold and silver. All right, then you can go and cash it in for, 10 times worth the paper phony money that it's used to get. But if it's a complete collapse, then I really don't think that, first of all, you're putting a target on yourself, walking around with this stuff. And second of all, how are you going to cash it in? Cash it in for what? Cash it in for what? Paper money? Bitcoin? Well, of course, that wouldn't be working. So what are you going to cash it in for? But if I go to the farmer and I say, look, here's a carton of cigarettes, give me a dozen eggs, and here's a bottle of vodka, give me a quarter pound of bacon, he can understand the value of what I'm trading for. So, like, I'm of two minds of the gold and silver. Yeah, okay, it should be a hedge against inflation, but then how do you cash it in if it's a complete shit hit the fan situation?
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. Now, yeah, we've discussed cigs and alcohol in times past. Can you throw maybe a few more items in there, like a top five kind of list, some other things that people should have? I mean, would you consider like wine too, maybe to be put into that category of alcohol?
Yeah, well, if you're a wine drinker, and yeah, go ahead. But the trouble with wine is it's 7% alcohol, and then you've got a big heavy bottle,
True.
and it's But if I get what I buy is what we call a Mickey here in Canada. It's a 12-ounce bottle of vodka, so it's small, it's flat. You can fit it in your inside coat pocket. Nobody can see you're carrying a bottle of vodka around. Try carrying a bottle of wine in your inside pocket. It's going to be pretty obvious to everybody that you've got a big bottle under there.
Hmm.
And then the alcohol content, 40% opposed to 70%. So you would have to have 5 bottles of wine to get the same alcohol content as one Mickey. So I'm not a big fan of wine. If that's what turns you on and you want it for yourself, and so you want to store some, okay, great. Get a little bit of extra, you might still be able. But no, let's go for the concentrate. If I could buy here in Canada, but you can't. But if I could buy 80% proof, then I would, right?
Hmm. No, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And so the other thing is ammunition.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay.
9 millimeter is the most common, the most popular ammo type in the world. 9 millimeter. The second best is 12 gauge shotgun shells. Buck or double aught buck shotgun shells or slugs, and those are very tradable. And then the third item, again, I said it's, believe it or not, what this guy said, but because he said that the problem was with no heat, no hydro, nothing like that. Everybody's building fires to stay warm, to cook, right? People are tearing down the fences. Just think of the movie Dr. Zhivago, where Dr. Zhivago is out in Moscow and he's taking a few pieces of wood from a fence so they can go home and build a fire to stay warm. And then, of course, he gets arrested by the secret police, by the NKV, which turned out to be his brother. But that's what's going to happen. People are going to be, first of all the trees, everything going to be torn down within the first couple of weeks. After that, people are going to go into abandoned houses, tearing up the flooring, burning the furniture. So they're building fires all the time, and the matches run out really quick. So big lighters, in order to start all these fires to keep you warm and to cook with, big lighters. This guy said that um, was a big tradable item. And then finally, what I would say is antibiotics. So
Oh, yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
go to fishmox.com. You can buy 100 capsules of amoxicillin, which is a general antibiotic, 500 milligram caplets. You buy 100 caplets for like $60. So go and buy 300, 400 caplets of antibiotics, because antibiotics,
Hmm.
when you don't have a hospital, when you don't have a doctor, when you don't have any medical care, right? Everything is shut down. Antibiotics is essential. It will save lives. It will save lives for bronchial pneumonia, or if you get sepsis, you cut yourself on while you're stripping down a building for wood, and you get a sliver or something like that, and you
Yeah.
get septic. You
Hmm.
need the antibiotics. So that's my top 5 bargain items: booze, cigarettes, ammunition, Bic lighters, and antibiotics.
Wow, fantastic. Yeah, no, last year I did a massive run on the antibiotics. I went a little overboard, I think. I probably got like tons of antibiotics. But yeah, so that's a great one. And ammo too. Can't I mean it's one that we can't state enough. So all great, a great list there. You heard that, folks. Get
Yeah,
out
and
there.
then yeah, after that, then you can go canned food.
Yes. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I think we'll be doing that again today too. Been storing up quite a few of the number 10 cans, but also smaller cans too. But the benefits of the smaller cans, obviously, you could eat it one meal. The bigger cans, you would have to eat it, obviously quite quickly
Yeah,
if you didn't have refrigeration. But like I'm more or less thinking for my situation, I would have 3 or 4 people with me, so that wouldn't be too big a deal.
right,
Um,
right.
yeah. Anything else before we move on? We want to do last second blackout preps, and I realize it's going to be different for everyone's situation. Do you have the ability to do a wood stove? Economically speaking, I mean, some people just have apartments. They don't have a fireplace or the ability to do a wood stove. So, in the event of everything shutting down, and especially if you're in really cold regions, what do you do? I know I've been stressing the power bank stations, the eco flows, but then you have to have a way to power it, either solar or gas. I got a gas generator over the last month. So everyone's situation will be a little bit different, Stefan. But let's just say, for shits and giggles, everything's going down within the next 2 months. What would you do today in general?
Okay, well, the first thing I would do is I would buy a propane slash gas generator, right? They sell these generators, they run on both propane and they run on gas. The reason for that is you can run it on gas, but you can't store gas for very long before it goes bad. So then you can always run it on propane. That would be my first go-to item if you can afford it. I don't know how much they cost, 800, 1,000, 1,200 bucks, something like that. You
I got
don't
mine
need to,
for 400 actually. Well, I don't know, I mean, yeah, there's models that go up well above 1,000, but I kind of figured, you know, the one that I got would be sufficient. Um, about 400 bucks. And then with the gas thing too, I'm glad you mentioned that stuff because that's the first thing that I consider too with gas. But a product that I found, and I'm sure you're well aware of this, the company that I use is Stable, and you like pour it into the
yeah,
gas, and it makes it last for like 2 or 3 years or something like that. So at least, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
still not too long, but I mean, at least it's not 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a good idea. So and again, but storing the gas is a little bit of a problem,
Yeah,
If
it
you're
is.
in an apartment, well, and then running a generator, you can do it, but you're not going to be able to store a lot of gas. But anyways, with the generator, what I would recommend is that you just run it long enough to recharge your batteries, recharge your laptop, recharge your cell phone, if the cell phone's even working.
Right.
Uh, and then just run it for like, and then if you have like a deep freezer with a lot of meat in it or something like that, then run it for like an hour in the morning, an hour in the afternoon, and an hour in the evening to keep the freezer down, the temperature down so that the meat doesn't spoil. And but a portable generator, if you can get one 400 bucks, go for it, And then stock up on propane canisters because propane is really safe to use and it lasts a long time. So get a few dozen propane canisters to run the generator. That would be my first go-to item to purchase for immediate blackout. And
Mhm.
then you're going to have to, if you're in an apartment or something like that, or in a subdivision, you're going to have to hide that generator in a closet and pack a lot of foam mattresses around it so that the noise doesn't attract everybody. Because the only drawback to those generators is that they make a goddamn lot of noise. And during a power outage, you don't want to attract attention from everybody when they hear your generator going. So one thing you should take into consideration, listen, if you've got the tools and the equipment, I would recommend building a box, 3/4 inch plywood, that would fit the generator in there. Cut some holes so that the cables can come out, and then line the inside of the box with egg cartons. We used to do this when I worked at a recording studio. The egg cartons, we used to staple them to the walls because they really absorb sound. So this way, if you have like if you're living in a subdivision, you've got a house, a detached house or something like that, and you want to stick the generator in the garage, good. Build a box, line it with egg cartons so that you can reduce the noise that it makes. So that would be my first go-to thing for an emergency blackout. The second thing, and this applies for those of us that live up in the north and where the winters are really effing cold, which it is right now where I am, it's freezing out, a kerosene heater. The kerosene lasts a long time, so you can store it longer. You can get a kerosene heater for about $200, and and then stockpile 2-3 gallons of kerosene, and then you use the kerosene. If the power and everything goes out, you're going to freeze to death in your apartment. So the kerosene heater, you can use that in an apartment. So if you're in a condominium or an apartment and you don't want to freeze to death, your kerosene heater is the easiest, cheapest source to keep it. It won't keep the entire apartment warm. What you're going to have to do is everybody move into the living room. You set up mattresses on the floor and blankets, and you bring in the kerosene heater, and you can heat up the one room so that you don't freeze to death. Second best would be a propane heater. And again, if you're going for a propane powered generator, then definitely go for the propane heater as well, because that way you get double duty on your propane canister. So you can use the canister to run the generator for a while, and you can use the canister to run the heater so that you don't freeze to death. So those are the two items. Now, if you're living in Florida, you don't have to worry about the cold, right? But if you're anywhere, up north, boy, you got to have something to heat the house with. So those are the two go-to items. Personally, solar panels, wind generators, I think they're absolutely fucking useless. Excuse my language. I have no faith in solar panels. None. Yeah, if you live in Arizona, good, get the solar power. But here in Canada, I can tell you, if I put up a solar panel, I'm not going to get any power for 4 months. Nothing.
Yeah, it's been rough around here lately.
Every day it's overcast and cloudy and windy, and you're not going to get anything out of a solar panel here in Canada. Yeah, in the summertime, okay, then there's some sunny days. Okay, good. But wintertime, forget about it.
Yeah.
That's why you got to rely on the propane generator and the propane heater or the kerosene heater. Those are your two items that will save your life during a power outage. But forget about solar panel. I've been a science geek since I was a little kid. I played with solar panels my whole life, ever since I was 12. Yeah, they're useless. They're basically useless. You might be able to recharge, a AAA battery or something with it. Maybe. I doubt it. But so when you need it, it won't work. When you don't need it, it'll work.
Right. Yeah. No, I have it. Yeah, I was very, very high on solar panels, like not knowing the space about a year or so ago, and now that I have them, out in the Ohio Valley here, it's like the sun never comes out during like the winter time. That's the first and foremost problem. Then two, the recharge or the charge on it wasn't as fast as I necessarily thought. But I do have it as a backup. You know what I mean? Like I'm starting to get low on gas or something. At least I have that option. But yeah, I'm not as high on solar as I was a year ago. So that's why I've been creating a big space for gas. You know what I mean? And getting it at the price that I can get before it's like $20 a gallon. So that's like my project. Like the next month, I've created some shelves in a garage that I just strictly use for charcoal, for wood, all stuff to make a wood stove work or the fire pit or whatever. And I am storing tons of gas.
Good.
Go ahead. Yeah, no. So that's now. What about this? Since we're on the topic of blackout grid down stuff. Apparently in this video that I sent you, the guy says like nothing's going to work. Your cars won't work. Nothing will work. Not even regular phones will work. So forget about even powering up like via an EcoFlow. It's just not going to work. But then I had a few of my followers say they were watching some other guests who, cover similar material, like the Dave Hodges of the world. Not sure if you're familiar with Dave, but I've done some.
Yeah, I've been on a show.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Same thing here. I used to have him on quite a bit. We used to do cross collabo shows back in the day, but not in recent times. But apparently, a lot of people are talking about satellite phones. And I went on the other day. And I was like, okay, let me look it up. I was like, man, they're like $1,000, $2,000. I have no idea how they work. I was wondering if you do, Stefan. Is it worth the investment? Obviously, to the other person that you're be trying to contact would have to get one too as well. But any thoughts in regards to satellite phones?
Yeah, I don't know very much about them, but I wouldn't bother with them because first of all, who are you going to call? Assuming that with the grid down, that they even work. I know they're on a satellite, and so they should work. But whoever's going to tear down the grid, are they not also going to disable the satellite phones? I don't know.
Yeah.
And also, who are you going to call? So you got a satellite phone. You spent $2,000 for it, and your best friend, in 200 miles away, has got a satellite phone, and so now you can call them. So now what? So what? What good is it going to do? Unless, and I don't know this, but unless the satellite phone can call something like a information distribution channel, like a radio station that broadcasts like real news, and
Right.
you can get information that way. But before I spend $2,000 on a satellite phone, spend $1,000, get a 50-watt ham radio base station. With that, you can talk to people all over the world, and you can run it from your generator. You can even run it from your, if you want to buy one of those hand crank generators, that's the other thing for the grid down. You can buy these things. They're about $30 on Amazon. You stick it on the edge of the table. It's got a hand crank, and then you just got to crank it with your hand, right?
Really? I never heard of that.
Yeah. They also have the kind that sit on the floor, and they have like bicycle pedals, and you can sit in a chair and pedal it with your feet.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and it will generate. Now, the thing I like about that is it's foolproof. Unlike solar panels, unlike wind turbines,
Right.
this is foolproof. It will generate about 12 volts. So it's enough to charge, a 12-volt battery, and it's enough to recharge your, all your radio batteries and things like that. So, the hand crank one is about $30 on Amazon. Hand crank generator. That's all you have to do. Google that.
Never heard of
So
that. Wow.
worst case scenario is you stick this on the desk and you start cranking it, and until your arm gets tired, but at least you'll be able to recharge basic items, right? And if you want to go, the floor model is like $100 or something like that. It produces, it's a little bit easier to produce electricity because you're sitting there and you're pedaling like you're on a bicycle, and it'll produce that electricity. So for a power out scenario, that's another item I would invest in, because at least no matter what, you can recharge stuff. All you have to do is crank it, which is a pain in the ass. But if you have no other choice, then just do it. Take turns. Everybody in the family take turn cranking this thing, right?
Get a little workout in too. It's like our Gold's Gym package too as well, right?
Yeah. So you get a bit of a workout.
Yeah.
But before I get a satellite phone, because I really don't know what the hell I'd use it for, and who the hell would I call? I mean, I get it. A satellite phone is if you're exploring the Amazon by yourself or something like that, and you need to call somebody for rescue. Okay, fine, works. But in a power down collapse scenario, I'd rather get a 50-watt ham radio base station, and then you can recharge the battery for that, or you can run it either with your propane powered generator or with your pedal power generator, and that ham radio will allow you to communicate with people all over the world.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, haven't heard of those last two. Definitely gonna check it out on Amazon here later today. Before we let
Yeah.
you go, Stefan, tell us what's on the docket for you as we close out 2021 and moving into 2022. Any new projects, and what kind of parlay into shameless self promotion time now?
Okay. Well, I got to be honest with you. The last month has been hell for me. I tried to make it across the border into the U.S.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but they turned me down.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I got rejected at the border. And I got to tell you, the level of police state that I encountered just trying to get over the border.
Hmm.
When I was 16, if you were a Canadian, you could drive over the border into Buffalo, and there was just a little booth there, and the customs officer would say, "Where are you from?" And you'd say, "Toronto." "Where are you going?" "Going to Buffalo." And they would go, "Okay, off you go."
Hmm.
They wouldn't ask to see ID, no picture ID, no visa, no nothing. Now, anyways, I made a mistake because I thought I would get over the border. So I moved out of my apartment. I gave away almost all my possessions because
Oh.
what am I going to do? I'm going to carry this with me everywhere I go, all this crap,
Hmm.
20-year-old IKEA furniture. Screw me. So, but when I got turned out I had nowhere to stay. No
Wow. Okay.
apartment. Yeah, so I'm living out of a U-Haul trailer. I'm still staying with some friends now, and it's just been hell. And then I got the two cats with me, and doing
Right.
all this in the dead of winter, all this moving. And anyway, so I am in dire straits. So please go to my website, uh, buy a PDF download for $10, and that would really help me out
Hmm.
because I burned through a lot of money trying to get over the border, and then I failed, and now I'm burning through money with car rentals and U-Haul rentals, and I stayed in a hotel for 2 weeks. That was a lot of money. So
So you're gonna try to
yeah,
stay there? You're gonna try to stay there now, or like what? I mean, do you
well, I
plan?
made an arrangement with some friends. I'm going to stay in their house for a month until I can find another place to live. But the people that want me to come to the U.S., people in North Carolina, have contacted their state representative, and he has contacted their state congressman, and they both agreed to take on my case to get me to get into the U.S.
Okay.
So I don't know
Yeah.
if it's going to do any good. If it does,
Right.
then I'm going south. Uh, America is my home. Americans are my people, not Canadians. I don't get along with Canadians, but I do get along with Americans. So if they can get me over, but the whole problem was to get over the border without a vaccine passport. That was the problem.
Yeah.
And the only way I could do that is if I got a work visa. And they turned down my work visa. 1.5 million illegal immigrants come into the
Right.
US
Yeah.
every year, but me, a straight, white, honest, law abiding author and
Yeah.
artist,
Hmm.
I'm not allowed in the US, okay? I'm not allowed in.
Yeah. Thank you,
But
Joe Biden.
yeah, no, exactly. Thank you, Joe Biden. I got to be honest with you. That's really all him to blame for this. But if I was a Somalian warlord, I'd be
Yeah.
welcomed with open arms. So that's the state of immigration, folks, there in America. They won't let me in. I am what you would call a national treasure, but they won't let me in.
Mm.
And I've got a congressman working on my behalf, but I don't know if it's going to do any good because even
Maybe.
if I can get in, are they still going to force me to get a vaccine? Because now this Omicron thing, they're hyping it up like crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Eric, it's unbelievable. It,
What about if you had like a friend that has like a vaccine passport or has the ability to get across? Like, what about if you like?
no, 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 no. They got you on file. I had two friends. They were Canadians. They were going to go into the United States, and they were fully vaxxed, idiots that they were. And when the customs officer in the U.S. asked them if they were vaxxed, they said no, sort of as a joke. I don't know why they said no. The customs officer entered their name into the computer, and he said, "Oh no, you're both fully vaxxed."
All right. Well, what I meant was, Stefan, like if you hitched a ride with one of these guys and like strapped yourself to the undercarriage of like the truck or something, like hit yourself.
No,
You know
no,
what I mean?
no. Eric, I have tried every which way. First of all, as you approach the border from Canada, you're photographed. These high intensity photos are flashing in your face. Then you have to drive through an X-ray machine
Oh, there you
that
go. That would
X-rays
get
the
you.
entire vehicle.
Yeah, that would get you. Yep.
No, this is what I mean about this police state.
Yeah.
I've thought of it, Eric. I would walk over, I'd sneak over, I would fly over on an hang glider.
Right.
I would
That's crazy.
canoe over, but they've got it locked down, folks. They don't want you to travel. This is the point. And they certainly don't want you to travel unless you're fully poisoned.
Exactly.
So,
Yep.
anyways, we'll see. But I got to look for a place. Meantime, I'm hemorrhaging money like crazy. So,
I got you.
folks, go to my website, chinastrategies.com, one word. And I've got, dozens of books on there. They're all available in PDF as a download, $9.95, $10 to download one of my books. Help me out and download one of my books for $10. And that way I can try and find a place to live
Yeah.
because I have no home now. I have no home.
All right, buddy. Well, we'll certainly keep that intention in your prayers. And folks, you heard Stefan, get on over to the website. And, obviously you'll get to learn with that $10 PDF download. And you'll be helping out Stefan in the process, too. We've got him lined up for next month. And, folks, we got to get ready for Gil Broussard next. We'll cover the latest Earth changes. And there have been quite a few, including a 6.5 earthquake over in the northern California area off the coast. We'll talk that and much more. Until next time, my good friends, stay safe and God bless.